Logan Paul versus Mayweather? Freaking Mayweather, a YouTuber, is fighting one of the most legendary boxers of all time. 2020 is the craziest freaking year ever. Holy moly. And what's interesting is that this is going to elevate Mayweather's profile, the profile of all YouTubers and creators, and maybe be the biggest fight in the last year or so. Who knows? Who's gonna win this fight? 100% Logan Paul's gonna win. He's gonna knock that sucker out and he's gonna win. He's gonna get all the money and all the popularity. Mayweather has no chance. All in this episode of the Digital Drop Podcast. Mayweather, you're done for. This podcast is sponsored by Restream. Why live stream to one platform when you can simultaneously live stream to every platform to discover new audiences faster using Restream.io?
That was amazing, AWOL. By the way, I'm not sure how many people actually expect this to be a contest. They're calling it the Super Exhibition. February 20th, 2021, we're going to have Logan Paul, a YouTuber, face off. I never thought I'd say these words, but again, it's 2020. We're going to have Logan Paul, a YouTuber, face off against arguably the best boxer of all time in an exhibition. How did this even get set up? Why would Mayweather agree to it? None of that really matters for this episode. What we're talking about today is how they got to this point and what it's going to do to their careers. AWOL, like AWOL said, Logan Paul's already won this thing. He's able to get in the ring on a pay-per-view and fight the best boxer of all time. Are you kidding me? Do you really think that his numbers on every avenue are not just going to skyrocket off of this? Do you think that think about all the boxing fans right now, all the people who have been following boxing since the days of Mike Tyson and Evander Holyfield, and now there's just some random YouTuber. People who did not know Logan Paul before this are going to know who Logan Paul is now. Most people know who Floyd Mayweather is. So the question is, and I guess let's start with a fun one here. Who do you want to see hit the ground first, Perrin?
Perrin, you're up.
Yeah, this is just go ahead.
If I could have my wish on this, I want them to both knock each other out at the exact same time. That would be so perfect. Great. But if we're looking at this, and I don't know if you want to share a screen and show what I'm looking at here. I'm looking at all the different YouTube videos made off of this event. So this announcement happens, right? And this is big. This was trending on Twitter yesterday. So much so that after yesterday's episode of the Digital Drop Podcast, I'm like, wait, what? Double take that I had to mention Logan Paul is fighting Floyd Mayweather out of just utter confusion. Because I was like, wait, I don't really know much about Logan Paul other than like he's kind of a trash YouTuber or whatever. And he does kind of trash things as a human being. I don't like him very much. But now he's fighting Floyd Mayweather. What the hell is going on? But this is Logan Paul. This is a big YouTuber staying relevant. And when you get to that level, or if you're at any level of success, whether you're a successful live streamer or you're up there, and even the medium or top level creator or live streamer, you need to be focusing on relevancy. Because when you're relevant in the conversation, you can drive clicks and you drive views, as you're seeing here. Top video, 400K views. 355K views, 24 million views in the KSI versus Logan Paul 2 fight, which is the third search result on this now. 24 million views. Like, it's all about react culture in order to stay relevant. How do the top streamers do it? They react to anything that happens to another top streamer on Twitter, on their channel, on YouTube, wherever. They're in the conversation so that they can stay relevant. All this is Logan Paul staying relevant by doing something crazy. And he fuels content production for other creators because now they can all react to it. And this is what I wanted to show you. Skip and Shannon react to Floyd Mayweather. If you come down, like there's a KSI reacts to Logan Paul versus Floyd Mayweather. There's so undisputed. Shannon shocked Floyd Mayweather. It's all about reacting to this controversial event going on. And they can do this for content for another month or so and get views off of it. And that's the formula. That's what I wanted to dial in on. But well, I know you did a little bit more research. I'm not a boxing expert by any means, so I can't really dial it down to that. But you had some takes where we were looking at the trend data and how will this affect Mayweather? Why is he getting involved? Sorry, Mayweather.
Right. So I watched a Mayweather interview that he did with one of these YouTube videos that you're talking about there. And what Mayweather is talking about, he's obviously just doing it for the money. And so a lot of people are criticizing Mayweather, arguably the most legendary boxer of all time. He's up there with Mike Tyson, right? So people are like, this is a huge career mistake, they're saying. Why are you fighting some YouTuber? Why are you putting your 50-0 record on the line here? And what he talks about in the interview is, y'all are okay with Jeff Bezos making money all the time. Y'all are okay with Bill Gates making money all the time, even though he's retired. Y'all are okay with, he names all these other people that are making money all the time because they're retired. But why can't I make money after I'm retired? And he talks about how in this, and I'll pull up the clip here so the YouTuber that did this interview gets credit. His name is Shannon Sharp, and Club Shay Shay is his channel. But what Mayweather says in this interview is he can fetch between $10 to $50 million per exhibition fight. So obviously he's doing this for the money, and he doesn't care. A lot of people out there are caring about Mayweather's reputation on his behalf for him. From my impression from this interview is Mayweather's just wants some money, man. And why can't, and his argument is, why can't I go, and you know, go watch the interview yourself. It's on Club Shay Shay channel. But his argument, in a nutshell, my understanding of it is, why can't I go out and go do some fights, go make some millions, and why can't I just do that for myself because I can go make money? A lot of people in the boxing world are saying this is a huge mistake for Mayweather to fight Logan Paul for a lot of different reasons. His perfect record is on the line. It's my understanding he's 50-0. What if he loses one? And Logan Paul is 50 pounds heavier than Mayweather. And Mayweather is 5'6", I believe, and Logan Paul is 6'3". So with 6'3" versus 5'6", that's a massive height difference. And obviously with an extra 50 pounds on Logan Paul's side, I mean, look, when you're in the boxing ring, I'm no boxing expert here, but you throw a couple punches. What if a punch or two from a man that's much larger than you accidentally lands against your dome here? I mean, it's possible that Logan Paul could knock Mayweather out, permanently staining and tainting his reputation as a legendary boxer. It's possible. Is it likely? Obviously not. But that possibility of some clown shoes YouTuber, the whole boxing world's like, oh my gosh, I need to watch Mayweather knock this dude out. The whole YouTube and internet world is like, oh my God, I can't believe Logan Paul's even boxing this guy. Let's see what happens. And everybody's going to pile in on this pay-per-view. And ultimately, Mayweather's going to make a boatload of cash. Logan Paul's going to make a boatload of cash. But the reason why in this episode title we said that Logan Paul is 100% guaranteed to win is that Logan Paul's popularity will skyrocket to new heights no matter what. And he will benefit win or lose. So that's why Logan Paul is going to be the ultimate winner here. Best case scenario for Mayweather, he wins the fight and he makes money. Whatever. Best case scenario for Logan Paul, he can win. If he wins, he reaches meteoric celebrity heights. If he loses, he reaches really high celebrity heights and is mainstream now. So Logan Paul, this is the best career move I've ever seen any YouTuber make. Well, what do you guys think? I mean, this is seriously probably the biggest YouTuber move in the history of the platform.
It is. I agree with that. Let's clarify, though. Floyd Mayweather's record is not on the line on this. This is an exhibition. It's not even going to count against his 50-0 record. Also, if Logan Paul lands a punch on Floyd Mayweather, I will be shocked. Floyd Mayweather is one of the best defensive boxers in the world. So I think, obviously, what the situation is, even with that extra length, like you talk, and even if he does end up having 50 pounds, Mayweather is just gonna wear him down and then beat the crap out of him in the last couple rounds.
Obviously, he's an actual boxer. Yeah. Logan Paul's a clown shoes YouTuber.
But I will say this: I don't like complimenting this man. I don't like complimenting his brother. But they are both they actually have some skill in this. I'll give it the what was it? Jake Paul knocking out Nate Robinson. Nate Robinson is a legitimate athlete. For people who don't know, he was an NBA player. He even had he could have had an opportunity to go to the NFL as a wide receiver. He knows, like, Jake Paul knocking Nate Robinson out like that kind of shocked the world. And I think that's what kind of led to Logan Paul, to Mayweather saying, oh, okay, maybe these guys are a little serious. Maybe we could, we'll make some money off of this. I don't think there's any case. I think even on the off chance that Mayweather gets the crap beat out of him, he doesn't care. It's not, number one, that's not going to happen, but he doesn't care. He's going to be making a ton of money off of this. I think the first estimates I saw were like 1.6 million pay-per-views are expected to be sold for this, which is fantastic. That's great. Making their money. But I think what this opens up the door is it's going to be the creativity to expand your horizons, like we talk about all the time, from YouTube or from Twitch, from what you're doing, and take it elsewhere. Be able to expand your horizons, make money elsewhere, get your name on the map elsewhere, because that's all going to trickle back down. Think about how many people who have no idea who Logan Paul is right now. The fight's not till February 20th. Think how many search results he is in right now. Think how
tens
much
of millions, hundreds of millions of views. Yep.
Yeah, are going to be for the next 2 months, just people trying to understand who he is and why they should root for him over Mayweather, who has his own history of not being liked. I think people are going to be watching this fight just because they don't care who, but they want to see someone hit the ground hard.
That makes sense. Let's take a look at the actual data then, Perrin. Can you walk us through the Google Trends on this whole people outside of boxing entering boxing? I mean, look at this list of names here. I cannot believe it. We're looking at Mike Tyson, Floyd Mayweather, and then we're contrasting them with Logan Paul and Jake Paul, former Vine stars and YouTubers. Do you see any trends here or anything that's interesting in terms of web search that we can kind of pluck, Perrin, as we look at these numbers?
I mean, so the most comparable scenario to this would be Mike Tyson's last fight, which was November 28th, which was not that long ago. And this is the spike that we're looking at here was the search interest created off of that spike. And right, like at this point in the past 30 days, we don't really have a blip on the radar from Jake or Logan Paul. But if we go to the past 7 days, so we get yesterday's announcement or the December 6th, you can see now the search interest for Mike Tyson is no one cares. That fight's over. It's gone. He's no longer relevant in this discussion anymore. And you have this spike for Logan Paul. The thing is, what we can't really see for whatever reason here is how comparable the spikes are versus the two. For whatever reason, I'm not able to see that with the way that the data is being pulled up here. But you can see how this type of announcement leads to a spike in interest through search. This means more clicks and more views, and that's the point. And this is not a new strategy. This is a strategy that many major creators, many major producers have used throughout the course of history. George Lucas is a great example. When Star Wars started to become irrelevant, George Lucas started making changes to episode 4, 5, and 6 when he would remake them and reboot them and remaster them that people didn't like. And these would make the news and everybody would start talking about Star Wars again. Suddenly Star Wars is relevant again. And he managed to keep doing that until now today. Everyone still knows what Star Wars is, even though really Star Wars is such an old thing. He kept it relevant by being controversial and making controversial decisions with it. J.K. Rowling does this with Harry Potter. The books are gone and done. The movies are gone and done. But she continues to make controversial statements and claims.
Every character's gay.
Yeah, about this. And then everyone reacts to that. And that makes everybody talk about Harry Potter again. Suddenly we all care again. You know, right? And so suddenly I haven't had to worry. I don't watch too much boxing and I haven't heard Mayweather's name in forever. But when I saw it trending, I'm like, suddenly, oh, boxing is interesting again. I have a reason to pay attention to it again. This is good for boxing because even non-boxers can get interested in this because it's a reactable, a relevant headline because it's controversial. That's how this stuff works. And it's not new. It's not a new strategy. And this is what comes next. After you hit medium level, when you get to a higher level, if you're wondering, what it will be like whenever you succeed and what your success looks like, you're looking at what it looks like. It's these bigger creators like Logan Paul. It's like Ninja, who's wondering what he should do now, and now he wants to get into movies. Ninja's going to have to find a way to stay relevant. He's going to have to do some controversial takes and get people reacting to it. He's going to have to stir up the pot a little bit so he can be relevant if he wants to get cool roles in good movies. That's just the name of the game, and it's been played for a long time. Creators just have an advantage when it comes to internet search, and it's good that they can bring that to something like boxing, in my opinion.
I agree. Yeah, can you please pull up Google Trends really quick again?
Yes.
So when we look at what happened here, put your mouse over that spike right there. That happened most recently. Who's the top name?
Logan Paul, 100%. Floyd Mayweather,
Logan Paul benefited
70%.
the most from this announcement. Like, as far as internet is concerned, Logan Paul benefited the most from this announcement, more than Mayweather. And so that's another reason why we're saying he's 100% confirmed to win. people are talking about him more than Mayweather right now. They're talking about a YouTuber on the internet more than they're talking about the legendary boxer. His fame will grow exponentially, and Logan Paul will be the center of this conversation on the internet, not Mayweather. Mayweather will be like a side dish. Whereas if you look at old media and TV and radio and where old people look at content, Mayweather will be the main conversation with Logan Paul as a side dish. And so it's going to be different between these two mediums. Go ahead, Ross.
No, I was just going to say one of the reasons that Tyson, well, speaking of the announcement, but why actually the day of the fight, why it was so low is because the Tyson fight actually ended with a draw, which nobody cares about, whereas Paul ended with a hardcore knockout, which had everybody searching for it. So that's definitely one of the reasons. But yeah, this just shows you, to me, this shows me at least, the power of YouTube and the power that the creators actually have on YouTube. Obviously, you're not going to be a Logan Paul, but just looking at the power of YouTube, think about how historically, how many celebrity boxing matches we have had that get no attention. Shaq fought Sugar Shane Mosley back in 2010. You would think that, you know, a huge man like that, both in style and personality and skill, going against Shane Mosley would have drawn some attention. I don't even remember hearing about it. I don't remember hearing about half the celebrity boxing matches that we've seen over the past 10, 20 years. But what I do remember is every network possible, whether it's sports. I mean, I'm surprised Cartoon Network didn't have anything. They probably did at some point. Everybody's talking about this because of the clout that Logan Paul has. Mayweather knows this as well. Mayweather's not a dumb man, despite what some people may say and think. You know, he obviously knows how to make money. He knows that he has much more to lose from this fight than Logan Paul does, but he also understands Logan Paul's clout. He also understands how many people dislike Logan Paul and how many people would pay great money, like they're going to see Logan Paul potentially get knocked out by the best boxer of all time.
And that's going to be great content. And one thing you said earlier, I want to highlight on, and if you could lock and load that link and that discount code, this is the ultimate multi-platform strategy. Okay, so you're a YouTuber, you're doing social media, you're a Logan Paul, Jake Paul, you're a creator out there. How do you expand your reach? These guys are already kings on almost all of these platforms. They can go to any internet platform, Logan Paul can. Jake Paul can go to any internet platform, get millions of followers, get millions of views, no problem. So how do you expand your empire from there? These guys are smart. They realize going multi-platform off internet is their next move. So now they're going multi-platform on TV. They're now getting out there in radio. They're getting out there in traditional media. They're going to be in magazines. I'm serious. They're hitting every single platform in the entire world by doing this. They're bridging the gap between new media and old media. And they're sucking old media for everything it's worth and bringing in all that attention from old media to them on the internet to further boost their strategy on the internet. Because guys that have reached endgame like this have already more or less maxed out their amount of clout they can just get on the internet. And so this is their way of branching out. And so one thing I'd like to highlight for you guys, this is yet another example of the more platforms and the more places people can be talking about you and can be discovering you, the better. And that's why we use Restream.io to restream our broadcast. We're currently live on Twitch, DLive, Facebook, Periscope, and YouTube. And you can download and use Restream.io so you can broadcast on all the internet places. And then hopefully one day, once you become world famous, you can box Mike Tyson and get knocked out, and then you'll be on TV. You won't have to restream there, but you can be on TV and you can be on all those old media locations and you can grow your strategy. This is end game, guys. The more platforms you can be on, the bigger your distribution and the more people are talking about you. Any final thoughts here before we wait at bated breath for this fight in February?
Despite my opinions on both of these people as individuals, I do think it's a nice symbiotic relationship between old media and new media, where, you know, new media is lending a younger audience to boxing and to Mayweather, and Mayweather through boxing is giving Logan Paul and the YouTube community a little bit of exposure to old TV audiences. So I think it's a nice blending of the two with this event. I see it as like marketing versus marketing, but they're both helping each other out in a way. So it's kind of nice from that perspective, in my opinion.
Former ESPN radio host Ross Dillon, finish us out there. Mr. Sports. We're going to call you Mr. Sports now.
Mr. Shooty Hoops. That's me. My only final thought is we actually discovered this morning that Andrew Perrin is a boxer, and he does like all kinds of Fight Club stuff. And the reason you don't see bruises on is because he wins. He will now be accepting challenges from other YouTubers, and we're gonna restream this across all platforms. Congratulations, Andrew Perrin, on your new venture I just signed you up for.
Man, I know I should not have made that joke at the beginning of the episode.